Hi guys, it's Katie here again from Creativa, and this video is the second video in a series on making a journal. The journal I am making, I am using all of the scraps from a scrapbook paper pack. All of those little bits that I couldn't find a use for, I have collaged together and made some covers and or some pockets to make my journal. So in the first video we collaged the paper together and created a cover, sewed in our signatures and put in some pockets, and in this video we're putting in some other groovy little elements to make our journal a little bit more interesting. So on the left hand side is a sort of a guide on the journal pack and all the pockets that come with it, and all of the other elements that come with it. So right here and now I have just put together a trifold pocket, which I cut out of a piece of coffee stained Atlas index paper. I really love this index paper. I love all the rows of numbers. So this comes in the SVG file, and it's very easy to cut out of a piece of scrapbook paper or a piece of scrap paper, anything you like really. And I've just folded on the score lines, glued up those tabs and put it together, and I have two of those, and this is my journal that I made in the last video. So I'm just going to find a spot to pop these into. I'm going to embellish them later, and in the end I actually end up gluing them onto the page as a pocket. So it is there's a pocket behind as well as the three pockets when you open it up. So that is my trifold pocket. So all of the items that are in the journal pack that I'm using to make this journal come with mats, so that you can cut mats for each of the elements straight out of some scrapbook paper. But I have not cut mats for anything in this journal, so it is just as easy to cut your elements themselves out of scrapbook paper or collage paper or whatever it is you would like to, and create a beautiful book or journal without any mats. So this is the slot pocket that I've cut out of some coffee stained craft cardstock, and I've just put some glue around the edges of that, and I'm gluing it into the inside of the front cover. And then I have some little pockets, slot pockets there, that I can pop some journaling cards and tags and things straight into there. Also in the journal pack is the SVG file to cut out these rolodex cards, which make great journaling spots and little inserts for pockets and things. I have cut mine out of some white cardstock and then just coffee stained them, and I have embellished the front of a few of them, but I've left the back of all of them blank so that they would make great journaling spots. All of the pieces in the journal pack can be easily resized, so you could cut some of those Rolodex cards down really small, and then you'd have cute little itsy bitsy Rolodex cards to put in small pockets. I have got the file folder here from the journal pack, and also two of the corner pockets. So the file folder itself I've just cut from some sort of off-white coloured cardstock, which I then coffee stained, and I've just cut these corner pockets out of some of the scrapbook paper that I have also coffee stained, and I'm just going to fold these guys up and then glue them on the inside of the file folder. So these two little file folders here are exactly the same as the file folder that I just made before with the corner pockets, but I just shrunk it down to make some cute little file folders, which I've just popped in some pockets there. And now I'm going to make the small bag, which comes in the journal pack there on the left. And this is a piece of scrapbook paper that I have coffee stained, and then I have cut my little bag out on my Cricut, which has already done the score lines. So then I just need to fold it up and glue it together, and I have a cute little pocket, a little bag, like a little coin bag, I guess. So these were all just random pieces of scrapbook paper that I had that didn't really ever fit into a particular project, but I thought they would work well in here. They're different shades of green, something a little bit interesting. And I like to just randomly put things in the journal as I go. It gives me an idea of when to stop putting things in so that it doesn't get too chunky. They'll probably end up moving, but for now I just get a sense of how full the journal is. So now I'm making the large bag, and I'm just using my little crinkly scissors down the sides to give me that sort of rough look that lunch bags have. Then I'm just folding on those score lines and gluing it down. And this was just an off print that I had printed some copy paper off ages ago and didn't end up using it. And so then I'm just going to use those little scrunchy scissors, I don't know what they're called, along the top, so that looks like a little lunch bag, a little paper bag. And then I can pop that in my journal as well, and I will also embellish those later. And I've got some other another interesting little thing to put in my journal, and I'm using up some scrap bits of paper, so that makes me very happy. And now I'm making one of the CD sleeves, which is also in the journal pack, and I have cut this out of copy paper, which I then coffee stained. Now, it does have a mat that I could have cut out of this vellum using my Cricut, but I was just being lazy. Because you're not going to see it, it's going to be on the inside. I thought I'll just trim my piece of vellum to fit. And I just want to put it in that circle on the inside so nothing falls out of my CD sleeve pocket. So I just put that bit of vellum in there, and then I can fold it up and glue each of the tabs down and make a little pocket. And it also has a little tab there that I can attach straight to the page. And of course I could make this larger or smaller too, so I could have a cute little dinky one if I wanted to. But this is actually a really good size for slotting in some of the cutouts from my scrapbook paper, so I just left it the size that it was. So that tab that you can see on the top is where I will attach it to my page. So I'm just flicking through my journal and deciding where I want to put my CD sleeve, and it seemed appropriate to put it on the music page, so I've just put some glue on that tab and then just attached it like that so that it will flip out, and then I can pop something in the side of that CD sleeve, just making sure it's lined up along the edge and it flips, and I'm happy with that. Okay, so next I have one of the letter-sized pockets that I'm going to put in the back inside cover of my journal. So this is just a piece of coffee stained scrapbook paper, and then I've stitched around the edges of it and folded in those tabs, and then I can just easily glue it down on the back inside cover of my journal. And I know it fits perfectly in there, so just gluing it down, making sure it's well attached, and then I have a little pocket on the inside. Yeah, the next thing I'm going to make is my library pocket. So this is just a piece of book paper that I've cut out the library pocket, and all I have to do is just fold up those little tabs and fold them over, and I have a little library pocket. So I've made a few of those, and I will just find a place to put them in. Just trimming a little sliver off the bottom of that one, and I have 3 of those to pop in my journal. So I decided I want to put one on right here on the front cover, but the book page on the book page looks a bit too text heavy, so I'm just going through my bits of scraps, and I've decided that I'm going to layer a bit of scrap paper underneath and then put my library pocket on top. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to attach it all with a paper clip, and I'll come back and do that later. But I have 2 others that I want to put in, so I'm just going to find a couple of spots, put one there. So if I just put glue around the edge of this on the back, then it can be a double pocket, because I can slide something in behind there underneath the back of the library pocket if I want to. So here I'm just having a look at some of the tags that I've already made up from my scrap pieces to see if I have one that will actually fit in there. But I think they're all a little bit too big, so I'll just do something about that later. So now I'm just looking for the last spot in my journal to put my last library pocket. I'm going to pop it on this page here. So I'm just going to do the same thing, put some glue around the edge of the back of the pocket, so if I want to pop something behind that, I can. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to make is my little matchbook notebook. So I've cut out the matchbook out of some craft cardstock. It has been coffee stained, but you can't really tell. And now I'm just looking for a bit of scrap coffee stain paper that I think might work. And I'm just trying to determine how wide and how long I need to cut my scrap down to. I fiddled around trying to get the measurement of this right for a while, because, I don't know, my brain just wasn't functioning very well, and for some reason I did not want to trim it down into the individual pieces first. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, I end up trimming this down to, I think, 4 or 5 sheets that fit in the bottom of this little matchbook. So I've just cut out the whole part where I spent way too long fluffing around trying to get these pages to fit in here. But once they fit in here, then I just use my tiny attacher and staple through all of those pages and the bottom of the matchbook, and then I just slide them in, slide the top in to hold it closed. It doesn't line up very well, so I'm just trimming down the side with my scissors. And then that's my little matchbook, and I have to put it aside because I can't stop fiddling with it. So I'm just going to pop that in my journal now, and I will come back and embellish it at the end. So now I'm making some of the slides. So I've cut out 8 of these little slides, and these are fabulous to use up some of your scrap cardstock. And I have already fussy cut these little butterflies and laminated them in my laminating machine, and now I'm just trimming them down so that they'll fit in there. So there is a mat that you can cut out to do this, but because I had some weird shaped little bits of laminated butterflies, I'm just doing it by hand. So I'm just measuring around that, trying to figure out where to trim up that laminator, because I wanted to get as many butterflies on a laminated page as I could but I still needed to leave space in between them so that I could put them in the little slides. So now I'm just trimming them to fit. So these butterflies came from the Graphics Fairy. I have a premium membership with the Graphics Fairy, and so I have just printed these out, and I printed them really small. It might have been contact sheet size, and some of them are backed with just book page, and some of them are backed with another butterfly. So some of them look the same from both sides, and some of them just have book pages on the back. So once I have attached the little laminated butterfly to each of these slides, then I just sandwich that laminate together with one of the pieces of cardstock slide that I've already cut out. Just using my fine liner glue bottle, which is fantastic for these sorts of jobs. Okay, so now I'm just running around the edge of each of the slides with my glue, and then I'm just going to sandwich another one of those slides on top so that it's nicely finished on both sides. Doesn't that look lovely? And then I can just embellish that when I have finished everything. I like to leave all my embellishing to the end and sort of get in the zone and really concentrate on trying to use up all my scraps while I'm embellishing. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach one of the top slides to the bottom slides for each one of these, and then I can pop them in my journal. Okay, so I have finished up 4 of my little slides, so now I'm just finding a spot to put them in my journal. For now I'm just going to pop them in with a paper clip, and I think in the end they actually stay like that as well. I just embellish them a little bit. So I'm actually making 2 journals at the same time, so I'm just going to pop 2 of those in this journal as well. And then we can do the next thing. So I have some ticket strips here, and I've just cut those out with my Cricut and coffee stained them. They come in that row of 5 like that, but of course you can tear them down and make individual ones and use them as embellishments. I haven't embellished these at this stage. I do that at the end, and you could cut little mats out that come with it and pop little mats on them, but I end up just doing some random stamping on them for a bit of fun. So I have 3 sets of tickets, and I'm just going to pop them in. So my journal is getting quite chunky now. These are some tags that I made with some of the leftover collaged paper, scrapbook paper that I had already done. So I just backed them onto some cardstock and sewed around the edges, and I can embellish those later, but they're made with the same scrapbook paper that I've used all the way throughout. So they definitely suit this journal, so I just want to make sure that they go in this journal. And they're quite random sizes and lengths because I'm using up scraps, so but they're all a decent size, so I'm quite happy with those. So I'm just going to pop them in some pockets for now. Might not be where they end up once I've finished, but it gives me an idea of how much I've got in my journal. Okay, and this is, I think, the last thing that I'm making today. This is the viewfinder, and I have cut this out of some scrap bits of craft cardstock and coffee stained those. And this is a laminating pouch, so I'm going to slide my viewfinder underneath my pouch so I can get an idea of where those little windows are in my viewfinder. And then I have this book. It's actually an old dictionary, and I've been pressing some flowers in there, so there they are. It's just a bit of baby's breath or gypsophilia that I've pulled out of a bouquet of flowers and stuck them in there. And then I'm just using my tweezers and grabbing some of those tiny little flowers and popping them in some of those windows. And then I also trim up some random words, some nice random words though, from those dictionary pages and put those in the remaining windows. So then once I've done that, I can fold the top of the laminator pouch over the top, try and hold it really still and feed it through my laminator like that. Without the viewfinder, the viewfinder is just sitting underneath it so I can get an idea of where those windows are. Okay, so I've just squashed it down and then I've run it through my laminator, and so you can see it looks quite strange. So I decided to cut this out just by hand. I could use my machine to cut out the mat for this, but because I'm using the laminator pouch like this, it's easiest just to trim around it. So I'm just running around it with my pen, trying to get an idea of where I need to trim. So then I need to cut inside that black line that I've just drawn. And then I just simply sandwich this one together between the two viewfinders to give it a really nice finish, and I think it's really cute. So once I've trimmed it down so that it fits in my viewfinder, I'm just using my fine liner glue again and just running around the first one of the viewfinders, and then I will attach that laminated sheet to this one. I'm just trying to figure out how to line it up so I can get everything reasonably well in there. Give it a squish with my bone folder, and then I'll run over that whole thing again with some more glue and attach the other viewfinder on top, and then it looks pretty from both sides, and it's something different. And you could put other things in the windows as well. You could put little photos or cutouts of pictures from magazines, anything you like really. I just had some of those little flowers, so I thought I would pop those in there. So when I have stuck them both together, I'm just trimming around the edges in case there's any little bits of laminate poking out, and I've already made another one so that both of my journals can have a viewfinder in them. So those are all the little bits and pieces that are available in the journal pack. Thanks very much for watching today. If you're interested, you could pick up that journal pack in my Etsy store, and I've put the link down below. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. See you again soon. Bye.